Hello everyone, Corey Anderson here. So, today was my first day at the new LA Fitness Gym out in Moreno Valley, and I can't even begin to tell you how amazing it was. I got to meet a lot of people, I got to talk to a lot of people, and we are going to be able to change so many people's lives, not only health-wise, but also psychologically wise. Help them with their mind, help them with where they are, help them to break through and to reach their goals and to go for the life that they've always wanted, to go to learn to discipline themselves and to teach them how to take care of themselves, and education, because education is key. There's a definite way for doing everything. There's a definite way when it comes to building your body. There's a definite way when it comes to building your mind. There's a definite way when it comes to building your life. And man, I can't even begin to tell you guys and girls, how great life is. It's not always about the things you have. It's materialistically wise. It's about the people that are around you. It's about how you can affect those around you. Because we are the lights of the world, me and you, and together we are going to make a difference, and it starts with us. So, that being said, I thought I would just share that really quick because I'm having a great day. And that being said, Chapter 7, in which the young man gets to know the value of self-image. The butler came into the dining room, carrying coffee and croissants, and the young man ate while the lesson continued. "I'm going to ask you a series of questions," said the millionaire, "to help you understand what happened to you during your few minutes of reflection. The first thing you must realize is that the amount you wrote down on the piece of paper means much more than you think it does. In fact, that amount represents almost to a penny what you think you're worth. In your eyes, whether you're willing to admit it or not, you're worth $75,000 a year. Not a penny more and not a penny less." "I don't see how you can say that," said the young man. "The fact that I chose that particular amount means I'm level-headed and have both feet on the ground. I just can't see how I can earn more for the time being. After all, I don't have a very high-paying job or a degree or anything in the bank. Your way of thinking is valid to an extent. In any case, I respect it. The only problem is, this attitude is the cause of your current situation. External circumstances are not really very important. Keep this well in the mind." Now, like I said, if you weren't with me with How the Mind Works by Christian D. Larson, I encourage you to go check it out. He talks about environment and because we are the ones who create our environment. Our environment is a reflection of who we are. So if you want to change your surroundings, if you want to change your environment, if you want to change how people see you, you're going to have to start by changing you. External circumstances are not really very important. Keep this well in mind. All the events in your life are a mirror image of your thoughts. Your mind can't grasp this principle if you continue to accept the widespread illusion that external factors determine your life. In reality, everything in life is a matter of attitude. And also, if you weren't with me for the Master Key System, I've been reading it every week, and reading a chapter every week, and staying on that chapter, reading it every day throughout the whole week because of the information that it has. And it's a lesson. It teaches you in lessons, and it does it in parts, week by week. So you want to stay with it week after week on the specific part. But we learned that as spirit, thought is the only activity that we possess. And your thoughts are being poured into your mind, your mental factory. And your mind, as the mental factory, as it takes up all these thoughts, you are building those habitual habits, those habitual way of thinking. And as your thought processes are, so your body intentionally will invariably follow. So if you could control your thoughts, you could essentially control everything that happens around you. I'll read that part again because it even has it written in special letters that all the events in your life are a mirror image of your thoughts, because you yourself are a mirror of your thoughts, and your environment is a reflection of who you are. In reality, everything in life is a matter of attitude. Attitude, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we act. Life is exactly as you picture it. Everything that happens to you is the product of your thoughts. So if you want to change your life, you must start by changing your thoughts. No doubt you consider this a bit trite. Many rational individuals stubbornly refute this principle. But the truth is, all those who have accomplished great things in life, regardless of the field, have always ignored the objections raised by strictly rational thinkers. This certainly doesn't mean I'm against intelligence in any way. Quite the contrary. Reasoning and logic are essential in order to achieve success, but they aren't enough. They must be instruments and faithful servants, nothing more. It's interesting that he says that too, because your mind is not who you are. Your mind is your tool. You are a spirit. You have a mind. And you have a body. Because as spirit, you control the mind, and invariably the mind controls the body. And like he's saying, this certainly doesn't mean that I'm against intelligence in any way. Your intellect. The mind is the intellect. Quite the contrary. Reasoning and logic are essential in order to achieve success. And that is what the intellect does. It reasons things, and it logicalizes things. That's probably not a word, but that sounds pretty good. And you kind of get the picture. But they aren't enough. They must be instruments and faithful servants, nothing more. In most cases, reasoning and logic become roadblocks in the way of great achievement, because great things are created only by those who have faith in the powers of the mind. Successful people never let circumstances bother them too much. When you come down to it, the circumstances facing great achievers in the past were just as difficult as, and often even more difficult than, those facing their contemporaries. But this simply caused them to reach even deeper to tap into their inner strength. Those achievers firmly believed that they could accomplish great things, and those who become rich are deeply convinced that they could get rich, and that's why they succeeded. But let's get back to our piece of paper and answer this question. The $75,000 figure you wrote down was surely not the largest one that came to your mind, was it? You're right, it wasn't. What was then? My head was crowded with so many numbers. For instance, 100,000. And why didn't you write it down? I don't know. I suppose it seemed totally out of reach. It'll remain that way until you believe you can reach it. Since you started with only $75,000, we've got a big job ahead of us. And if we don't do it, it'll take you a very long time to become a millionaire. So write down the highest figure that now seems achievable to you. Stretch yourself. After a moment of reflection, the young man wrote down $100,000. Congratulations, the millionaire responded quickly. You've just earned $25,000 in a few seconds. Not bad, huh? It's as if you had... I'm sorry. I skipped the sentence. You've just earned $25,000 in a few seconds. Not bad, huh? I haven't earned it yet. It's as if you had. You've taken the biggest step. You expanded your self-image. By considering you could earn $100,000 instead of $75,000. It's not a major leap forward, but it's progress all the same. Rome wasn't built in a day, after all. Inside you lies a kind of Rome, as it does in every human being. The astonishing thing that this city is both exactly as you picture it, and it's also surprisingly flexible. The size of your city depends on the exact circumference you give it. By increasing the figure you wrote down, you expanded your city limits. Your inner Rome grew, and it's just a beginning. All wise thinkers have said for ages that the greatest limitations are those man imposes on himself, and thus the greatest obstacle to success is a mental obstacle. Expand your mental limits, and you will expand the limits of your life. Explode your limitations, and you will explode the limitations of your life. The conditions in your life will change as if by magic. I swear by this experience, this is true. But how can I find out what my mental limitations are? The young man asked. All this seems plausible, yet at the same time quite abstract. I've just explained how to find the boundary that corresponds to your self-image, said the millionaire. You translated it into concrete terms when you wrote down that number. It's fascinating to see what each individual really thinks of himself. Each time someone does this exercise, a single figure immediately exposes his true self-image. He is confronted by his own mental limitations, which will perfectly match the limits he encounters in life. Life will bow before the limits he sets for himself, whether he is aware of this or not. People who generally fail are the least conscious of these key principles of success and wealth. Successful individuals have become aware of this phenomenon and have done their utmost work on their self-image. The easiest way to work on this self-image in the beginning is to take a blank sheet of paper and write down steadily increasing amounts. Let's start our little exercise over again. Write down a much bolder figure this time. So, you heard the man. Take out a sheet of paper and start writing down what you think you are worth and expand it. Write down twice as much, whether it's money, whether it's a big house that you want, whether it's a job that you want, whether it's it's something you're passionate for. Write it down. Look at it every day. Repeat it to yourself every day. Focus on it every day till it becomes a part of who you are. It has to become a part of who you are. Write down a much bolder figure this time. The young man thought for a few seconds and, squirming, wrote down $150,000, confessing that this was the maximum he could imagine earning. Maybe it's the maximum you can imagine, but it's definitely not the maximum you could actually earn. That's a pretty modest figure. Some people earn that in a month, others in a week, even a day. Every day of the year. However, let me congratulate you. You've made outstanding progress. You've doubled your earnings and considerably extended your mental boundaries. You have to start by setting your mental boundaries, not as much as I would like, but I don't want to rush you. You have to start by setting yourself an objective that you consider bold, but at the same time reasonable. The secret of any goal is that it must be both ambitious and within reach. But don't forget that most people are overly conservative. They're afraid to burst through their mental limitations. They've turned their mental limitations into a kind of habit. They are used to going without. They're convinced that that's what life is about. They're scared to dream. You mustn't be afraid of expanding your mental boundaries. What you can accomplish in an hour, merely by writing down a series of larger and larger numbers, is amazing. You've managed to double your goal within a matter of a few minutes. Later on, when you're alone, do the next exercise. Sit down in the privacy of your own room and write down the course of your financial destiny. This is how to do it. Write, in 6 years to the day I will be a millionaire. So, write it down. In six years to the day I will be a millionaire. This is the practical application of my secret to becoming an instant millionaire. You'll probably object to the fact that it'll take you 6 long years to become a millionaire. I agree, but it'll take you only a second to activate the secret key that will ensure your financial destiny and fortune. I want to say this. Money's not evil. Money's neutral. It's just like anything else. It's a form of exchange. It's the love of money which produces evil, because it's material. So in reality, it's not really, doesn't mean anything. It's just exchange. Yeah, it's a necessity in this society, but it doesn't come from the heart. And whether you have financial goals, whether it's family goals, whether it's fitness goals, whether it's mental goals, whether it's inspirational goals, write it down. In a year today, I'm going to be inspiring this many people. a year today I'm going to be this much, I'm going to be able to run the mile or 20 miles in this amount of time. A year today I'm going to read this definite amount of books and expand my knowledge base tremendously. Not everyone wants to be a millionaire. It's not my goal. I know it'll happen eventually. It has to happen, because money follows the man who has a purpose. Find your purpose and find your passion. Find something you love to do. Find something to inspire others. It's all about changing lives. That's what life is about. Affecting others and changing lives. That's all we want to do. That's all we are doing. That's all we dream of doing. As for me, I started out with some cash that an old millionaire lent me, equivalent to about $25,000 in today's dollars, and it took me precisely 5 years and 9 months to make my first million. Ever since then, I've made it prosper by using the same formula over and over, with ever-increasing numbers. This formula has always made some people laugh, and that's not going to change. However, the ones who laugh aren't rich. The young man shook his head pensively. He was half convinced, but it all seemed a bit too easy. Obviously, continued the millionaire, this formula is effective for those who want to become something other than millionaires, like we were saying. After all, not everyone cherishes that ambition, and that's precisely the beauty of this secret. It works equally well for any dream. From the most modest to the most extravagant, it can make you an extra $5,000 a year, or double your income in a year, something that's totally feasible, by the way. So, if you don't mind, go and spend some time in your room while I go back to my precious roses, and write the sentence I gave you. In 6 years to the day, I will be a millionaire. I will therefore be a millionaire on, and then write the month, the day, and the year. Make sure to take note of every impression that comes into your mind, no matter what it may be. You'll find some paper on the desk. Remember one thing, as long as you aren't used to the idea of becoming a millionaire, as long as it isn't an integral part of your life, and thus of your innermost thoughts, nothing can help you to become a millionaire. Go now and reflect on my formula, or affirmation, as you may wish to call it. Let it become your guiding principle during the next 6 years. And that is the end of Chapter 7, in which the young man learns to have self-image. If you made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you, and I want to applaud you, and give yourself a round of applause, because this is really great information, and you are taking the road to not only changing your life, but also changing the lives of others. That being said, Corey Anderson here, and